back to the Jet Press Podcast. My name is Justin Fried, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, Mike Luciano. Mike, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Well, it's been kind of a slow time in Jetsdom, which has led to the fan base really twisting themselves in knots, trying to get mad about something because, the Jets, they have to be mad about something, even when...
Can you blame them? There's been a lot to be mad about over the years, my friend.
As NYJ, Don't Tell NB starts us off, where he says they prefer gabagool or prosciutto, Taylor ham, or pork roll. It's pork roll. That's a definitive declarative statement. It's pork roll. If you're referring to the burning questions that need to be answered, like the title says, that one we can firmly answer. It's pork roll.
Those are two questions. Those are two topics that I have zero opinion on.
All right, and the other one, I'll go with prosciutto because there's this place where I used to live. It's been on like Guy Fieri's show. It's called Dolce and Clemente's. And they have a thing called prosciutto bread where they have like a big roll and they stuff it with all sorts of meat. Like they roll it basically like when they're making the dough with all these stuffed meat and they sprinkle little pieces on it and bake it. It's really good. Like you slice it up like that. You give it as a holiday gift and prosciutto's in that. So therefore.
Difference. But listen, I'm a Long Island I'm Italian, but not as Italian as.
Yeah, one of these posers. Yeah.
Not as Italian as Luciano over here. What's the difference between gabagool and prosciutto?
The difference?
Yeah, I don't know. They're both like thinly sliced meat, right?
I mean, yeah, but
that's what I'm asking. You have to Google it. See, you don't even know. Fake? You call me fake?
Well, I just want to double check.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, it is what I thought. I think it's just different parts of the. It's just different parts.
Google is more Italian than you are, Mike.
I thought it was that, and I wanted to confirm because I don't want to make an ass out of myself here.
Classic story. Classic. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Of course. So
I like prosciutto. I don't think I've ever had gabagool. When I think of gabagool,
one's like this kind of meat. One's like the back part of the.
Oh, when I think of gabagool, I think of like classic Italian phrase that people just say. I don't even think of the meat.
This is how my culture gets.
Your culture. You had to
translated.
You had to Google your culture.
I want to double check it.
Sure. Okay.
I'm not exactly from the old country here, but I got to remember some stuff.
You like to act like it sometimes.
do I know?
Anyway, go on.
My grandmother is 100% Italian. She used Hunt's tomato sauce. She was making her own.
Was your grandma born in Italy?
No.
So her parents were born.
The last name was Bertoni, but yeah.
Well, my mom's last name is Tucci. All right, so I'm a little Italian. I'm Italian. Don't question my Italian blood.
So now before we start some sort of ethno war here, we're gonna go and get the housekeeping out of the way. You know where to find us: Apple, Google, Spotify, Overcast, wherever you get your podcasts. We are there, and we're on YouTube, so you can subscribe, you can like the stream, you can do all those things to really help support the show. We're getting up there in subscribers, so if you want to get on the train, come on, ride the train, as the Quad City DJs would say.
Sure.
Then you can. So let's go and talk some questions that have been percolating around the Jets Twitter sphere and social media sphere.
Real quick, NYJ, Don't Tell NB, how we're gonna pronounce that. So Ty Simpson and Usmeyer, we're gonna get the draft stuff later, but I do want to revisit this question. So remind us when we start talking draft stuff in a bit. I want to talk about that.
All right, so let's start with the obvious one.
Right.
Because it's franchise tag time or transition tag time. And the only guy the Jets are really going to consider doing this with is Breece Hall. My opinion on this has been kind of mixed, and I want to say I've changed it, but I've softened my stance on it. Because I used to be firmly in the you got to keep Breece camp. Now, that came, though, when I thought they were getting either Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore. And I thought it would be tough to square the thought of, well, let's get rid of this really good running back who had one of his best seasons of his career lately, can pass catch and do a bunch of different things. It's tough to square getting rid of that with we're putting a lot of weapons around this quarterback because you're just getting rid of one that you're going to have to replace anyway. Now, two more things have softened me to this. I still would prefer to keep Breece Hall, probably with that transition tag, which is seldom used. And it's a lot cheaper than the franchise tag. But there are two things that have kind of softened me to that. Number one, this team has so many holes. Really, if people are doing all this mock draft complaining, the only position in the top 40 that I really think they don't need or can't make a case for is probably offensive tackle.
Yeah.
Now you can debate when you want to take a guy at 2 or 16 or whatever, but tackle is the only position where if they take a guy in the top 50 that I really have a point where I'm like, I don't know if you can do that because they have so many holes. And I'm not a big never pay a running back guy. I really am not. I mean, look at Saquon. They paid a running back, worked out fine. But a team like this, paying a running back what Breece would need to be paid, that's a little different. And then number two, we didn't get to talk about this a lot, but Harrison Phillips kind of went scorched earth on guys that are still on his team, where he called a cancerous, them's are fighting words.
Yeah.
And a lot of those guys, some of those guys are possibly gone. Like, I don't know who he was talking about. Maybe it might have been Sauce Gardner as one of them. He's gone, but
he later clarified, which, by the way, shout out Richie Jets Media. He's the one who got that quote. It was a really good quote. He clarified, Harrison Phillips, that is, in a like quote with Rich Cimini, where he said that he wasn't specifically talking about players. He was just talking about the loser mentality that kind of engulfs.
Where does the loser mentality come from?
Well, that engulfs the team when losses pile up, and it's kind of just like a snowball effect. Now, you can interpret that however you will. I'm just clarifying what his words were.
That sounds like PR spin, but
maybe possible. But that's kind of, he clarified that it was more about the same old Jets mentality and not about the specific players in the roster. Whether you believe that or not, it's up to you.
But also, like we've talked about before, get rid of the Salah mope. And look, Sauce may have been one of those guys, as ultra extremely talented as he was. He was probably one of those guys. Quincy Williams is one of those guys. Sherwood a little bit, one of those guys. Jermaine Johnson just had a bad year. I don't think he's like a moper. I think he moped a little at the end when they were tanking, but I don't think that's generally his predilection.
Quincy's a moper.
Quincy he's moper alpha right now.
Sure, it's just time to move on. Like that's it's time to move on. But
Sherwood, I don't know. That's the concerning part because he's still around.
Yeah.
Actually, moper, he might be moper beta. Moper alpha might be Breece Hall, if we're being honest. Yeah. How many times this year? It has to be 3 or 4, where either the Jets have been going really bad or another team has been going really good. And Breece Hall tweets, "Man, looks like this other team's really good. Wish I was on that team. Ha ha ha." Yeah. Like Rodgers when he made the playoffs and then got his shit pushed in by the Texans. Oh, Rodgers still got it. It's who does that help? Why tweet that?
Remember,
so if Aaron Glenn is really going to go in on this, get rid of the literally cancerous thing that Harrison Phillips ID'd, getting rid of some of the Salah mope is going to be paramount in that. And Breece Hall might be one of the Salah mopers. If you can get rid of him and then bring in, I think Kenneth Walker is going to be more expensive than Breece Hall after the Super Bowl now. But if you get an ETN for similar money or a Rico Dowdle for a good amount less money, and they don't mope, I think that's an upgrade.
You could argue that. You remember when Breece, I forget if he put it on Twitter or Instagram, but he tweeted out or posted something where it was like #free20. And that was last year where he said that. It's like, it's stuff like that. And as Brian said, loser mentality is just a side effect of association with a team with the longest active playoff drought in North America, which, by the way, I believe for the hockey followers out there, I believe the Buffalo Sabres are trending towards making the playoffs. So the Jets will be sole holders of that distinction in a couple of months, assuming that the Sabres are able to hold on. Yeah, I think that's partially true, Brian. Obviously when you're losing for 15 years straight with one singular winning season mixed in there, you're going to have a lot of loser mope, right? But I do think it's the stuff where it's like, oh, #free20, or it's like tweeting out, watching other teams and kind of subtweeting your own team, right? And you're making it clear that you're not happy. I don't think anybody is under the impression that Breece Hall is happy remaining with the New York Jets. Now, he might not have a choice for that, but I think if it was up to him, and I think a lot of the reason that we're talking about, no one's even mentioning, oh, what if they just re-sign him? What if they just extend him, right? I think part of that is maybe the Jets don't want to do that. I think an even bigger part of it is I don't think Breece wants to do that. I don't think Breece sees his future with the Jets long term. Now, maybe that changes if they do franchise tag him and the Jets find success next year. Yeah, anything is possible. Anything can change there. But I don't see Breece Hall on this roster in 3 years from now. I don't think he wants to be here in 3 years from now. That said, I don't think you can just let him walk. I mean, it depends on obviously what you're doing. If you end up getting if you sign like a Kenneth Walker or Travis Etienne, or listen, I was on the Rico Dowdle train before he even broke out. I was saying that. I think there's a conversation that you can do that. I think it'd be better for the Jets to tag him. I would lean towards a transition tag. The values on that right now, or a franchise tag for running backs, is $14.536 million, which would make him
that is too much. Even for Breece Hall, just as good of a player as he is, that's too much for
that. Would make him the 4th highest paid running back in the NFL, behind, I think it's only Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, and Derrick Henry. I believe that's over Jonathan Taylor.
Let's
Lot
check your work here. Let's see.
Fairly confident. I checked that last week. I think I'm right on that. The transition.
It's Jonathan Taylor would be fourth. Alvin Kamara would be fifth.
Yeah.
So
well,
it's Barkley, McCaffrey, Henry, who are the three outliers are ahead of him.
Yeah. Transition tag, a lot more reasonable at 11.7 million. So that's more in the range of Kyren Williams, James Cook, which is what a lot of people kind of figured that his contract would look like. Now, of course, with the transition tag, one, it's very rarely used. I believe the last time was a couple of years ago. The Patriots used it on Kyle Duggar. It doesn't give the Jets exclusive negotiating rights. So if any team wants to sign Breece Hall to any kind of a contract, they can offer him that, and the Jets have right of first refusal.
It's like restricted free agency in the NBA, pretty much.
That's exactly what it is. It is the Jets can match the offer if they want to. So it's a little risky if you do place the transition tag on Breece Hall, and another team comes in with a 3-year, 38. 39, maybe $40 million extension contract. I don't think the Jets want to pay that. I don't think they would want to do that. So then you risk letting him walk for nothing. So it's a tricky situation. I think the best case scenario is the Jets transition tag Breece Hall. He doesn't get another offer from another team. No team. But I don't know. Maybe he would get another offer from another team, right? Because if it's you look at the running back market. If Kenneth Walker stays in Seattle, which that's very much up in the air right now.
They should keep him.
They should keep him, but that is up in the air. But if he stays in Seattle, Breece is the unquestioned top running back in this market. I know Travis Etienne's good. I think teams will value Breece Hall more than Etienne. They certainly will value him more than Rico Dowdle or Javonte Williams or whoever else is out there. So I think Breece is going to have a market. So if you transition tag, you're taking a risk. But I think an ideal scenario is the Jets find a way to keep him for this year, whether that's a franchise tag or whether that's a transition tag. You go into next year, you hope that the situation maybe smooths over the first few months. And if not, you probably trade him at the deadline. That's kind of where I imagine the Jets' heads are at with Breece Hall right now. I think that's a better way of going about it than simply just letting him walk in free agency. Now, again, you can just point back to a few months ago in October when maybe they should have just taken that 4th-round pick that they got offered from the Chiefs. You could certainly argue that. I think I would lean right now that there's an over 50% chance that Breece Hall is on the Week 1 roster for the Jets. But I don't think it's a lock. I certainly don't think it's a guarantee by any means. And I'm really curious to see what they do with the tag situation, because if you franchise him, you're probably overpaying. But if you transition tag, you're risking letting him walk for nothing. So it's kind of a delicate balancing act.
Neil Kaminsky, you are out of your mind. Well, that has been established already. Hall is a top back, and they are crazy to trade him. Get a better coach and better players, and he will be the best bet. You see, The thing is, you're not totally wrong, Neil. Like, in a vacuum, if you're playing Madden or I guess the equivalent of what Stratomatic would be in the NFL, and there was no consideration for vibes or emotion or basically like roster construction, where the team's at right now. Like, in a vacuum, it'd make a ton of sense to keep him. It would be dumb to not keep a player that good. But, and you don't want to get to, McKinsey in and just say, oh, asset distribution and all that. Like, you don't want to make it just like a balance sheet kind of thing. But there is a lot to commit to Breece for that long when he may not even want to be here right now. There's a lot of moving parts that can make this go sideways. NYJ Don't Tell NB says, goodbye Breece and draft Jeremiah Love. I want no part of the running backs in this draft for 3 reasons. I'll give you my 3 reasons. Number one, this is a one quarterback draft. It's a 1 running back draft. Jeremiah Love's the only guy who may go in the first 2 rounds.
There's a couple of intriguing guys on day 2, but there's nobody else that's going.
Jadarian Price and Emmett Johnson, but I don't think there are guarantees to go in the 2nd round.
No, there's definitely no one else going round 1.
Exactly. So that's the one guy there. Number 2, there's just the lack of depth everywhere else. And number 3, this is another one of those fan ideas where they love talking about it and then they don't actually follow through on it. Like the whole, take a quarterback every year until we get one right. And then, take Ty Simpson. No, don't do that. It's that sort of thing. The idea of a committee backfield, what fans think they want isn't necessarily a committee like, ride the hot hand. They want like what Seattle has, where it's 2 borderline starter caliber guys just alternating carries, like Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, or Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, which is very extreme.
Atlanta, Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier.
Exactly, Atlanta with Robinson and Algier. Like this whole 3-headed monster of just ride the hot hand, that doesn't work right now. So Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, and day 3 running back to be named later, That's not a really good running back room, especially when Aaron Glenn's ethos has been run the ball, run since he got hired. That's not investing in how you essentially want to run this team, philosophy-wise. As J. Mark says, drafting Love will be the end of AG. I don't know if it'd be that far, but I wouldn't like it compared to just bringing Breece back.
You just cannot justify it with the current roster construction that the Jets have to draft a running back when you already have a good one in the building. Like I just given all of the possible needs that the Jets have, which, as we just said, is basically everything outside of offensive tackle. It's virtually everything on the roster. You cannot justify using a top 16 pick, which I don't think Love makes it to 16. So you're having to probably.
No, I think the Saints or the Chiefs will take them, and they're 8 and 9.
You're having to trade up back into the top 10 because you're likely not trading down from 2. I don't think any. We'll talk about this later, Mike. I've come to the conclusion this is a terrible year to have maybe I'm not the first to have this conclusion, but terrible year to have the second overall pick in this draft class. I just don't. It's not.
I mean, you'll only get Arvell Reese or Ruben Bain. You'll only get that.
We'll talk about this more later. I don't think there's a player that is like a obvious best player in this class that plays a premium position. That's why we're having these Arvell Reese versus Ruben Bain versus David Bailey debates. And that's why people are putting Caleb Downs in that conversation too. Cause it's like, well, are any of these guys like true number 2 overall picks? There's major red flags, I think, with each of those players, or at least ceilings with some of them. Anyway,
there's no perfect player.
There is no right. What I'm saying is it's even more so this year than in previous years, where it's like in past years, it's like, oh, at least, we can't get the quarterback, but we can at least get the obvious best player in this class. There really isn't that, but we'll talk more about that later. As far as what Neil was saying, by the way, about Breece, like getting better coach and better players to be the best back, I think it is very clear at this point. We've now had 4 years of Breece Hall tape. There's a tier that he's not in. He's not in the tier of the top running backs in the NFL. He's not in the Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs. You could still, if you want to still put Barkley or CMC.
McCaffrey, Henry.
Right. You want to still
Jonathan Taylor.
I don't think he's James Cook. I think he's below all of those guys, right? I think he's a very good player who
is he a top 10 running back, yes or no?
I think he's back half of top 10. I think he's borderline 9 or 10, probably. Good, very good player.
Yeah.
Very good player. But clearly not consistent enough to be in that top tier, not consistently explosive enough to be in that top tier. And look, man, last year he ranked 40th in EPA per rush. Obviously, the whole team tailed off throughout the second half of the year, but he really did as well. Like his production dropped off a cliff in the second half. And yeah, the offense stunk. And yeah, they were starting Brady Cook at quarterback. But I honestly thought the offensive line still did a decent job of opening up holes for him. So it's not like he was in the worst possible situation for himself. I think he's a good running back, not a great one. Maybe and not even maybe, if you put him in a better situation, you put him in, a Kyle Shanahan offense. Yeah, he's probably top 5, top 3 in scrimmage yards, right? That's just how the nature of the running back position works. But I don't think he's a top back. I don't think we can call him that at this stage.
Joe the Jet with a $2 super chat. Is Anthony Richardson someone the Jets go for?
First of all, thank you for the super chat, buddy. Much appreciated. I would say no. I
think after Fields, he's an even more exaggerated version of Fields.
The odds that Anthony Richardson magically becomes an NFL quarterback at this stage are slim, and I just don't think the Jets are in a position. Like, yeah, you could take a bunch of swings at the quarterback position. If you can get him for like a late day 3 pick, I have no idea what his value is at this stage. If you can get him for basically nothing, sure, and then have him compete with a veteran and like a rookie, fine. I don't see anything wrong with that. But if he's heavily factoring into your quarterback plans and you're looking at him as a potential solution for 2026, then everyone's likely getting fired. I just don't think you can do that.
I've never seen in my football career a guy with this level of physical tools, maybe like Jamarcus Russell, in terms of physical tools, can't put it all together quite like Anthony. He might have the strongest arm in the league.
He might.
As Chew donates 5 memberships.
What a guy. Shout out.
What a guy.
MF Chew.
Shout out.
Man.
The problem with him, before we get I want to get to one more Breece comment before we move on, though.
Sure.
With Anthony Richardson. The problem with him is kind of like a Zach Wilson, Mike White thing. Like Daniel Jones looking that much better in the exact same offense immediately. Mm-hmm. That's really concerning. And he gets hurt all the time. He got hurt every single year. Now, one was a complete accident freak injury where the thing snapped and hit him in the eye. That's not like an injury prone thing, but I wouldn't go for that particular narcotic. I think some team will. This is going to be a crazy idea in terms of young quarterbacks to trade for.
Tanner McKee?
I wouldn't hate Will Levis.
Oh, I wouldn't either. I'm with you. I think of any of the young quarterbacks right now who are kind of like on the outs with their current team, he might have the best chance of being able to like resurrect his career
It
somewhere.
was just a shoulder thing, so we got to see if the shoulder's still
Yeah.
there, because the whole reason you get him is the arm.
I think there's something there with him. I think him and the other young guy, I don't think New Orleans trades him, but I like what Spencer Rattler did last year. I thought Rattler was all right, was decent. And clearly
I think Levis is more likely to go than Rattler.
Correct. I don't think Rattler's good. I think Rattler's at bare minimum for the Saints right now, a very cheap backup who has shown that he can be a good spot starter for them. And Shuck also has a bit of an injury history too, so they're not going to I don't think they're in a rush to trade Rattler. But
a bit. It was like every year. That's why he was 26 as a rookie.
I'm aware. But yeah, it does seem like Levis is going to get traded. I wouldn't mind taking a chance on someone like that. Like if the Jets want 3 swings at the quarterback position, kind of do what the Giants did last offseason, and they sign a vet, trade for some young project, whether that's an Anthony Richardson, a Tanner McKee, or a Will Levis or whoever, and then draft someone on day 2 or early day 3. That's probably as
good as you're getting.
That's as good as you're probably going to get, unless you want to use the 16th overall pick on a Ty Simpson or something like that, which we'll talk about later.
Leon says, I think Breece Hall is one of the best all-around backs. As a runner receiver, he's a top 5 player on the Jets easily. And then he says Breece Hall will be an Arizona Cardinal back with Mike LaFleur if the Jets foolishly don't franchise tag him. He is advocating, by the way, for the franchise tag, because he said it's only a $3 million difference. The Jets have the cap space to absorb it, and you get extra security.
They do have the cap space. The $3 million does matter, but I wouldn't be shocked if they franchise him. I go back and forth on it because it really we don't have the intel on it, right? If the Jets have good intel that some team is going to come offering, Breece Hall a contract that they don't want to pay, then yeah, maybe they probably franchise him.
And if you can get some sort of guarantee that, like, you obviously can't, like some sort of guarantee that Breece Hall is not going to mope and is going to be like committed to this, that really changes things. It just really those tweets really irk me because all they're meant to do is annoy people. And he's going to keep doing them if they're bad again, when they're bad again next year.
But the way you fix the mope is if you win games. I don't have any faith that the Jets are going to win a lot of football games in 2026. But yeah, Leon mentioned the Cardinals as a potential destination for all. I believe that was Rich Samini who mentioned that this morning as a potential destination. Makes a lot of sense.
For Kyler, send it.
That would be bad. The Jets should not do that. That would be actually very bad. They should not do that.
Can I say one thing too before we move on? Like, everybody's going to have like their quarterback that they want right now in a very bad quarterback market. Mm-hmm. Why is there suddenly this thing that like, Kyler Murray's suddenly terrible and he's not good anymore?
Is that what it is? Or is it the understanding of like the context surrounding him that you're taking on some of that contract, that there's I'd
imagine Arizona was probably going to if Arizona just cuts him, like they're trying to trade partner, they're probably going to take on a lot of it.
What was reported, and I believe this was a Cardinals ESPN reporter, but they said that the Cardinals are looking for a day 2 pick, which, man,
you can look for as much as they want, but
that's what the report was, that they want a day 2 pick. I don't know how much of the contract they'd end up eating. I'd be shocked if they got a day 2 pick, but it's the fact that he's going to be 30, maybe this year or next year. He's got the injury history. He's already, smaller guy, right? Smaller guy with the injury history at that age, plus the off-field commitment concerns or whatever that follow him.
But I get that there's concerns, but to be like, no, absolutely don't do that, and then be like, I really want Kirk Cousins. Like, there's some dissonance there.
Well, is there anybody saying they really want Kirk Cousins?
I know everybody's like picking their guy that they really want this year.
They're all bad. Like, there's no good options.
Yeah, but like everybody's planting their flag, so people are planting their flag on really weird guys and knocking off a bunch of other guys. Is like I've seen a veteran Jet fan said something about Geno Smith. Like, why is that? Oh no, don't get Geno Smith, but oh yeah, get Jimmy G, as NYJ says right here. Like, why is there so much variance?
Ask the individual person, Mike. I can't speak for the entirety of Jets fans who all have varying opinions. I don't think any of the options are going to be particularly appealing for the Jets. Just get a veteran that you feel comfortable starting games for you in the building. Get somebody on day 2 that you feel comfortable developing, right? Or early, maybe it's the 4th round, whatever you're end up drafting. And then maybe take a swing on a young guy like a Levis, right? That's probably the best you're going to do without burning assets or, doing stupid things at the quarterback position, unless the pie in the sky dream of a CJ Stroud becomes available and then you can use your draft capital to try and get him. Like that's the only right in this scenario that the Jets could somehow end up in a good position at the quarterback position this offseason. But that's shocking. That would be shocking if that happened.
Let's talk about their guard spot, because the Elijah Vera-Tucker discourse is heating up. And I am starting to get a little confused as to why, like, there's a world where bringing him back makes sense because he's good.
Mhm.
Why it's viewed as such a slam dunk that they have to do this. I went back and watched our podcast from right when he got hurt and when he was out for the year, right after. And the consensus from both of us was you can't give him any sort of long-term deal.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can give him any sort of long-term deal.
I agree with that still.
Now, the rebuttal to that is always, we'll give him a 1-year prove-it deal. Here's the problem. AVT on the market is going to get 1-year prove-it deals from pretty much every team that needs a guard.
Yeah.
Why would he use the 1-year prove-it deal with the Jets? Philly may give him a 1-year deal. Denver may give him a 1-year deal. I don't want to speak this in rejection, but the Patriots may give him a 1-year deal.
Oh, dude, if he goes to the Patriots, brutal.
Like there's teams out there that need offensive line help, have a history of developing offensive linemen, and are going to be pretty good. The Jets have a decent offensive line, and AVT's really good. But we've said that for the last 3 years that they're building something, and AVT's really good. And then he gets hurt, and then he can't fulfill it. And these are not these are serious injuries, and he's had 3 of them now. I like AVT too. I think when healthy, he may be their best individual offensive line. I think Membu may pass him next year, but he's really, really good. But if we get into week 5 and he's out for the year again, he's not coming off a serious injury. Veteran Jet fan, he was out for the year.
Yeah,
Is that not a serious injury?
I think he means it's like not an ACL or something.
I mean, it's not an ACL, but it's still a serious injury.
Yeah.
It's not like a mobility thing, but you still got to worry about it. AVT, years of really good service, but and they may need to sign a guard in free agency because John Simpson was really good in 2024 and he wasn't as good this year. I get that. I don't know if I'd use like Vega Ioane at 16. I don't know if I'd do that, but
Daniel Jeremiah recently mocked him.
Yeah, I wouldn't. That's killing a mosquito with a shotgun in terms of filling some of the needs. But AVT, there's just so much of an easy downside to see with him. And I feel like what's going to happen is even if they give him that 1-year deal, we're going to go, oh, great, AVT's back, 1-year prove-it deal, and then we get burned again because he's hurt again. And it's not his fault, but it happens a lot.
So you don't want to resign him. You would let him walk. That's your stance.
I think I'd let him just because it'd be one, even if he never got hurt before this year and he had a serious injury, even if it was like an ACL thing, I'd be back. But this is 3 times now in 4 years. What's the best predictor of future behavior? Past behavior. Especially with injuries. You don't get less injury prone the older you get.
So would you want to bring back John Simpson with that, or would you go elsewhere?
I think my top 3 in order would be top 4 would be go elsewhere number 1.
So
I think there's John Simpson variants on this market right now, the interior line market.
Isaac Seumalo, someone like that.
Somebody like that. Then it would be Simpson. Then it would be AVT. Then it would be Vega Ioane at 16.
Interesting. So you'd prefer Simpson over AVT? Like you'd be more willing to bring back Simpson over AVT?
I think so, just because I think he'll be cheaper on a 1-year deal. And just the downside, like I like watching AVT play, man, but every single thing, well, I hope he doesn't get hurt. And there's nothing the Jets can really do to mitigate that because they can put him in bubble wrap until he plays the regular season. He could still get hurt. It's like when Mekhi Becton got hurt the second time, like they tried to, I think at least, not just put this guy in a combine harvester and try to get some health out of him. And then he still got hurt and he still missed the whole year. Like some guys are just injury prone and he can't do it. It's nobody's fault, but there you go.
Yeah, so just to recap his injuries, he tore his triceps 2022, only played 7 games. He started all 16 games or 16, 17 games as a rookie. Then he tore his triceps 2022, tore his Achilles in 2023. Both of those injuries came against Denver. Started pretty much the entire season in 2024, only missed 2 games due to an ankle injury. And then this past season, tore his triceps in the other arm. Mike.
Now he's got 2 on
not even
either
the
side of him.
The other arm right before the season started and was forced to miss the season.
Before you get into your point, Cisco, 1-year deal with incentives on games played. I'd like that deal. If you're AVT and you have 5 other ones, why would you? The Jets would be 5th on the list. He's not going to give him a hometown discount for this crappy team. He's going to go try to win. He hasn't won his whole career.
I want the Jets to do everything they can to bring back Elijah Vera-Tucker this offseason. Now, by everything they can, I don't mean give him 4 years guaranteed, right? I don't mean be completely unreasonable and give him a contract that no one else is even considering giving him. But I would be in favor of some sort of a 3-year deal with a lot of money up front where you can really kind of cut him after 1 year uncomfortably and then cut him after 2 years very comfortably. Maybe you give him a lot of incentives where if he's staying on the field and he's playing how is playing, he gets a lot of money, right?
Didn't they just do that with Tyron Smith?
Yeah, Tyron Smith was 85 years old. I think it's a little bit of a different situation.
I mean, they're both injury-prone tackle.
Tyron Smith was 85 years old and had 10 years of not staying healthy. At least AVT is younger, and the one positive, or not even positive, the one like optimistic, glass half full approach that I always keep coming back to with Vera-Tucker is it's not like a Becton situation where it was a recurring injury. It's not like Becton where it's like, oh, it's the knee. His knees are just cooked, right? Vera-Tucker had 2 freaky triceps injuries. That is freaky as hell. Now, I know I believe there's stuff out there that if you tear one triceps, it's not uncommon to then tear the other because you overcompensate and you end up putting stress on the other arm, and that could happen. But
that seems like exactly what happened.
It does seem like what happened. He's now torn both. He's had a complete offseason to fully get healthy. The Achilles is the one that is the most concerning because if he like tears an Achilles again, man, he's cooked. Like at that point, you're probably done. But an Achilles for an offensive lineman is not something that you can't come back from, especially a guy that you're planning to play at guard and just keep him at that spot, which I don't think the Jets would consider moving him to tackle, obviously, at this stage. And I don't think any other team would really seriously consider that either. So it's not like he's had, 2 ACLs in the same knee. That'd be a different situation. I think his injuries, and maybe, there's no way to ever prove this. They feel to me more like a product of rotten luck than true injury proneness. Now that could be proven wrong. If he tears his Achilles again next year, then it's like, all right, well, now he's done, right?
Yeah, but then you're out all the money you invested in him.
Yes. Yeah. I'm willing to take the chance for a player like Elijah Vera-Tucker, who has somebody else, I believe it was veteran Jet fan said in chat, is maybe their best offensive lineman. You could argue Membu last year or Vera-Tucker. I think if you bring back Vera-Tucker, the ceiling of that offensive line, if he could stay healthy, which it's not like he hasn't. He's had 2 seasons. He's had 2 seasons in his career where he stayed fully healthy, including 2 years ago where he was fully healthy for an entire season. If he stays healthy, you have I would say, borderline Pro Bowl ceiling with Vera-Tucker, a borderline Pro Bowl ceiling with Tippmann and Fashanu, and a all-pro ceiling with Membu. That is 4 above average to possibly great offensive linemen. You're going to win games just based on that. Like, as long as Josh Myers isn't, the next coming of Jonathan Harrison or take your pick of Wesley Johnson, remember him, the former Jet center, like all those random schmucks that they threw out there after Nick Mangold. I don't know if I've ever said schmuck in my life earnestly, but I just did.
These putzes.
Yeah, as long as he's not one of those guys, those gabagools, then I don't know if that fits there. But
no, it doesn't.
As long as Josh Myers is passable, right? You're going to have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. I think the ceiling of that is.
Didn't we say a version of that last year, and then he didn't stay healthy?
Yes, we did, and then you're right, and then he didn't stay healthy. But I still stand by that. I still maintain that belief, and I think maybe that ceiling is even higher with Tippmann at guard. You can argue. I think this Jets team right now is at a place where they're not going to win. There's very few paths to the Jets winning a lot of games next season. I think one of the only realistic ones is to lean on their offensive line. If they have 4 awesome starting offensive linemen, they're going to walk into 5 wins. And then whatever they get on top of that is cherry on top. Like, as long as they get even, and I realize with the Jets, this is a tall ask, moderate to okay quarterback play, and the offensive line is the ceiling that we believe it can be, they're going to win 6, 7, 8 games. I do that every week. I'm sorry. They're going to win a certain number of games just based on that alone. No matter what the defense looks like, no matter who they're trotting out there, running back or a wide receiver, that's how you can win games, right? And so I think the ceiling of that is worth it. I wouldn't consider bringing back John Simpson. Look, it was a great story year 1. I
like his mindset though.
I like his mindset.
They need more of him and less Quincy Williams.
I don't think I wouldn't group Quincy in there. I would say like Breece's or Breece Hall or Sauce Gardner, like mindsets like that. But Simpson had 12 penalties last year, 11 penalties.
Well, a lot of them weren't some of them personal
Well,
fouls for
personal
pushing
foul
people around.
were an issue. And I also thought he was between him, like the Jets had 2 weak links on their offensive line last year with him and Myers. If you can cut that in half and have 1 weak link on the offensive line next year, and that's just being Myers, and you have, and arguably I would say center, arguably the least important of the 5. I know people, I would say center is arguably the least important of the 5 offensive line positions. So if that's your 1 weak spot,
I would argue it's the most important. You're making the calls. Or second most.
More important than
your ID and protections as
more
a center.
Important than the tackle. But yeah, well, I'm talking
left tackle than center. 1-2.
Right tackle is more important than center in the NFL today. Come on, man. You cannot argue
with how you're making calls up there. Like,
is that why the top? What's the top center making compared to the top right tackle? It's not.
Well, that's money. That's how money's
just. They value because the NFL values right tackles way more than centers. I'm pretty sure the top guards are all making more than the top centers as well.
Well, I mean, Humphrey and Linderbaum are gonna.
Linderbaum might change that this offseason, but I'm pretty sure Robert Hunt just got $20 million last year in the open market. He is not even in the top 10 offensive guards in football. Linderbaum is going to get $20 million this year as definitively the top center. The NFL values guards and tackles more than they value centers. But anyway, all that is to say that I would do everything you can to bring back Elijah Vera-Tucker this offseason. And if that means you have to give him some sort of like a 3-year deal, I'm willing to take the chance on that. And I think this regime should be willing to take the chance on that because, Mike.
Why are we just assuming AVT is going to be AVT, though? Like level after all these injuries?
I don't think the triceps are something that I'm particularly concerned about impacting his future performance. Obviously, you never fully know until you get him back out there. But again, the triceps, they feel more fluky to me than anything. They're not something that should impact it. Like he came back from the first torn triceps and was great. Like that didn't impact his performance. Why would this one be any different?
Just an accumulation, just attrition?
Maybe. I'm willing.
That's already 2 major qualifications of if he stays healthy and if he's as good pre-injury.
Right. But shouldn't this, especially this regime that needs to win football games this year to keep their jobs, shouldn't they be chasing ceiling? Shouldn't they not worry about floor anyway? Shouldn't they be chasing that ceiling? And again, I think the only way that this Jets team is winning 9 games next year, which that's even a stretch, but the only way they're winning 9 games is if they get moderate quarterback play and have an awesome offensive line. And I think there's a path to getting one of those things right here with variables, but I think it's worth chasing.
I could also just see Darren Muji being like, you know what, old regime holdover, hurt all the time. Like, I'm done with him, kind of.
Maybe, but they better have a good plan then. They better have a plan that's not just bringing back John Simpson because, I think the offensive line was good last year, but they also had extreme injury luck. Nobody was getting hurt. They had all 5 offensive linemen start.
As they were very quick to tell us.
Yeah, obviously Vera-Tucker got hurt before the season, but they were the only team that had all 5 offensive linemen start every game. You can't rely on that necessarily happening again next year, especially if you bring back Vera-Tucker. If you bring back AVT as well, I'm not opposed, Mike, to drafting someone. I know they don't have a 3rd-round pick, but maybe they trade down or trade up and get one in like the 3rd round or something. And then that guy can either be someone that you plan to maybe take over for AVT if he can't stay healthy, or take over for Josh Myers at center. Get someone with guard center flexibility. That seems like a good plan.
It's not a bad plan. Again, there's extra steps you got to do. You got to trade down and find a guy. I'd probably lean on drafting maybe a guy who was a center in college, and then
yes, and then who can maybe play guard. Like that's what I would do.
It would have been easier if you didn't trade for Hassan Reddick, but we did, and then there goes the pick. Because that could have been, take like Jake Slaughter or something like that, and then there you go.
Listen, failures of the previous regime. We can do a whole show on that.
All the dead cap we have this year. Thanks, Joe Douglas.
Yep.
Let's talk number 2 overall. Because the guy that everybody seems to think the Jets are taking, it goes in cycles. First it was Dante Moore, and then he went back. And then it was Arvell Reese. Then the championship game happened, and it was Reuben Bain. Then they went back to Arvell Reese again, and now it seems to be David Bailey. Mm-hmm. David Bailey is a really good player. David Bailey's not going to leave the top probably 7 or 8 picks in this draft. I don't think he's a guy at number 2. I know that a lot of Jets people who I really respect, like Connor Rogers and other guys, have said David Bailey is worth it at 2. And I get the idea of some fans being scared away because of former Jets bust syndrome, where the Jets have taken a player and they busted. So now everybody afterward that is similar to them stylistically is going to be that guy.
Which, Mike, if you play that game, the Jets can't pick pretty much
exactly. Apparently, Vernon Golston had shorter arms at Ohio State, so Reuben Bain's going to be Vernon Golston. Mm-hmm. Apparently, Arvell Reese is not going to be good because an Ohio State linebacker. So don't take it, which that helmet scouting drives me crazy. Mm-hmm. Apparently, David Bailey's going to be Will McDonald in run. Will McDonald's not a bust necessarily, but I'd say disappointing.
Yeah.
He's going to be Will McDonald because he doesn't play the run as well. Well, two things. Number one, I don't know if he's going to be the worst run defender in the NFL years in a row, like Will McDonald.
David Bailey is a better run defender than Will McDonald. I hate.
Yeah, yes. I don't think he's ever going to be like great at it, but
no. But I hate the simplistic like, oh, he's Will McDonald. He's not Will McDonald. He's
right.
He's
but he does seem like the in the middle choice. We mentioned this before when we did our awesome Dark Souls analogy. We were talking about the top three guys. He's the in the middle choice in terms of both ceiling and floor. Floor is Ruben Bain. He may go 2 if he has 32-inch arms, which are still short, but not like all-time outlier short. He may go 2 because that's the only thing I really have about his game I'm worried about. But it seems like he's going to be a really good player, but physically, does he have the traits and the athleticism to be like a 10-sack guy every year? I don't know if he does. I think David Bailey's going to have more sacks in his career than Ruben Bain. Arvell Reese could be a horrible player if not used correctly, Isaiah Simmons. If you use him correctly, Arvell Reese could be an all-pro out of the gate. He's that unique of a talent.
I think
Bailey's in the middle where it doesn't really give you either of those two things.
I think there's enough of a floor with Reese. He's not going to be horrible. Like, there's no world where he's bad.
I mean, horrible's a stretch, but disappointing, I think, might be.
For sure. Yeah. There's a world where he's disappointing, 100%.
I still think it's Reese. Again, like, I'm not going to pitch a fit if it's Bailey at 2 because I think he's going to be a very good NFL player, but he's for sure number 3 on my list right now. Arvell Reese, number 1. I think Ruben Bain, kind of 1.5. And then David Bailey's clear. Like, I would be equally happy with either of those two. And then I think Bailey's firmly getting the bronze medal.
Yeah, I think we're in lockstep here. I kind of wanted to debate, but I think we're kind of in agreement here. I said this before. I just don't think this is a good class. I don't think this is a good class to pick 2, 3, or maybe even 4. I don't think David Bailey is worthy of a number 2 overall pick. I put this in quotations because in this class, I think he totally could be.
Where would he have gone last year for comparison? He wouldn't go above Abdul Carter. So
let me look at I gotta look at the draft again. I forgot the exact order of how everyone went.
Last year was a halfway decent draft.
He's not going ahead of Abdul Carter.
Or Travis Hunter.
If we can't use hindsight here, because I would say he should go ahead of Will Campbell, but
him and Bain. The T-Rex battles.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be funny. That'd be pretty funny. Them just like slap boxing. I mean,
like old school, like put up your dukes.
Yeah,
1900s boxing.
Bailey. I mean, he's going top 10 because he's certainly going ahead of Mykel Williams. He's a better prospect than Mykel Williams, David Bailey. As are all 3 of the guys we're talking about, Reese, Bailey, and Bain. He's probably going middle to back half of the top 10, which is probably where
he'd go this year. So
might be where he goes this year. I'm talking about specifically for that number 2 or number 3 overall pick. I don't think.
I think Robert Saleh is going to have to be talked out of David Bailey.
There isn't a player in this class, arguably, that feels more like a Robert Saleh pick. And I know Tennessee's probably going to want to go offense. They're going to want to help out Cam Ward.
No, I think they go. Like, because I really don't think Arizona's weird. I think Arizona takes Reese if he goes to 3, but I think if Reese is gone, I don't think they take Bain or Bailey. So I think they may go like Malagoa or something like that, or Spencer Fano, and then you have Bain and Bailey there at 4 for Saleh.
The reason that I also say this is not a good class to pick 2, 3, or 4 is that there's a reason that all 3 of those teams, their fan bases are like, oh, we got to trade down. Because there's just not a guy there. There isn't a guy.
Every bad team says that our team sucks everywhere. We got to get all the picks.
The Jets would love to trade down. Yeah. I'm telling you, the Jets would love. I don't know what maybe the Jets fall in love.
At least they seemingly have accrued the extra picks you would normally get in a trade down already with Sauce.
But what I'm saying is maybe they love Arvell Reese or whatever. I think in a world, like in a perfect world, somebody trades up for one of those guys because I don't.
And then Justin Fried, right before he makes his point, has an internet issue where he drops out, but now he's back on.
So annoying. I don't know why it's been doing this a lot recently. I don't know what's going on with that.
Only for a second. It's right when you're about to make a point.
Yeah, then I immediately can rejoin. It's
all right, but you were saying.
What was I saying? Oh, yeah, I think in a perfect world, the Jets would love to trade down because I don't know what their draft board's going to look like, but I'm going to guess that most teams aren't going to have a significant gap between Reese and Bain and Bailey or any of these players, right? And I also think what sucks about this class is I think there are 2, maybe 3 players that I think are like the best players in this class that are better than Bailey, that are more like slam dunk, surefire. I know exactly what they are. Better than Bane, better than Reese. But Bane is in that category of like, I know exactly what he is, but I just don't know how high the ceiling is with him.
Reese might be the number one player on the board. I just don't know what he is.
Right. I would say Caleb Downs is in that category of like, this dude's going to be an all-pro or damn near close to it. Right. Like
Leonard Williams coming out of USC, like zero chance he's bad.
Can't miss. Going to be an awesome football player. I love Sonny Styles, Mike. I'd put Sonny Styles in that category of, I know this dude is going to be so good.
He lasted to 12 in my latest mock, but like
if he does, it's only because of off-ball linebacker.
It might just be positional need.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a top 10 player overall on my board.
The funny eval with Arvell Reese is that Arvell Reese wasn't even a top 2 player in his defense. Those two were better. Sonny Styles was better in college than Arvell Reese was. He was a better football player, as was Caleb Downs, which that's a really hard sell to then be. And I'm saying this as someone who would probably lean Arvell Reese at 2 right now. And I think I will still be that way going into the draft. But that's why I say this is not a good year to have number 2, because either you're picking a guy who wasn't even a top 2 player in his defense at number 2. You're picking a guy in David Bailey who, look, I love his pass rush upside, and I think he might be the best pure pass rusher in this draft, but there are genuine concerns about his run defense. While it's not Will McDonald level, I don't think it's amazing. I don't think he's someone that I trust being a full 3-down edge rusher to start, which if you're taking a guy at number 2 overall, that's not a question you want to have.
He only had the one crazy year because he's a Stanford transfer too, so he only had the one crazy year.
And he's older. He's 24, 23, 24. Like he's not.
There's a good chance that I remember NC State when Bradley Chubb came out of a loaded line like this. There's a good chance every member of that Texas Tech defensive line gets drafted pretty high.
Yeah,
Lee Hunter will. Skylar Gill Howard's probably a day 3 guy. Romello Heights probably a day 2 guy.
Lee Hunter's gonna be a first-round pick. Heights probably a day 2 pick. Like that.
Yeah, he's like a 3rd-round guy. But like they're all going to get picked, so that's a big line. It's not just David Bailey.
And then, or you're taking Ruben Bain, who awesome football player, was maybe the consensus first overall pick for a few weeks early in the college football season, but he might be an outlier in terms of physical traits in a bad way, a bad outlier. And you don't really know what his ceiling is. And he doesn't strike me as someone who's ever going to be a perennial all-pro at the NFL level. And so that's why I say you're looking at that and you're like, well, I don't want any of these guys at number 2 overall. I'd love any of those guys at like 5th or 6th overall. But when you're picking as high as 2, you want generally either a top quarterback prospect or a can't miss blue chip talent at a premium position. And Mike, there are none of those guys.
I think there are can't miss blue chip talents, just not at premium.
Correct. Position. And that's why, look, I'm not going to advocate for drafting Caleb Downs 2nd overall, but I think you can make the case in a class like this. I'm not going to advocate for Sonny Styles 2nd overall, but I genuinely think you can make the case. I'm also not going to advocate for Makai Lemon 2nd overall. But, Mike, I love Makai Lemon enough.
Oh, no.
I love Makai Lemon enough. And I don't think they need to do that because I think he'll be there, honestly, maybe.
I think it's more likely he'll be picked 22 than 2.
I don't know. I don't want to go that far.
I just don't think he's
But I think there's
slow.
a chance.
I don't know. Slow and small.
Sounds like what they said about Jackson Smith and Jigba.
He was a little bigger, a little faster.
Not really. Not really. I think just Lemon has all the traits that translate to the NFL level that I really, and I think the NFL has shown this in recent years, that I don't really care about who the biggest and the fastest guys are at the wide receiver position. As long as you can consistently create separation, get open, and win at the catch point, you are going to be a damn good wide receiver. And Makai Lemon is that. Again, I'm not advocating for taking him at 2 because I'd rather take the swing on Reese, or I'd rather take the floor with a Ruben Bain or even David Bailey. But I can see the argument. I can see because I'm so sure that Makai Lemon is going to be a really good football player. And I'm so sure that Caleb Downs and Sonny Styles are going to be.
I'd rather take Carnell Tate at 2 than.
Oh, I disagree.
They need like a guy like Tate though.
Stylistically, Tate makes more sense.
And Tate's just better. So.
Oh, I disagree.
Oh, I think he's just better. If he run, I don't know if he'll run at the combine. If he does, and it's anything in like the 4 or 5s, like he's.
I think Tate is, and I like Carnell Tate. Like I think Tate's like a Cortland Sutton. A very good wide receiver. I think he could be a borderline wide receiver 1 at the NFL level. Sutton has been a wide receiver 1, a solid one for the last 6 years, something like that in Denver. I don't think his ceiling is as high as Lemon, and I don't think it's as high as Tyson. Tyson is just the injury stuff. Like that's.
I think Tate over. I'd take Tate over Tyson even without the medicals.
Oh, without the medicals, no. You can sell me like including the medicals, yeah. Because Tyson, it's a weird eval because he didn't have a single year in college where he didn't get hurt. And then
I think it'd be funny if Cleveland took him because I know his brother plays for the Cavs, and then you get both of them in the same city.
Jalen Tyson, yeah. He also had some drop issues last year in college. Tyson, Lemon is my favorite of those three. Like that's why maybe that's a hot take to say like he's clear. Like I have him not a tier above the other two, but solidified as my wide receiver one in this class, and then Tate and Tyson, depending on Tyson's medicals.
We're gonna get to the chat because we've got a lot of good messages I want to get to. Before that, I want you to rank these three outcomes at 2.
Okay.
Because I think it was Hayden Winks from our buddies over at Underdog, who said even if you evaluate Arvell Reese as an off-ball prospect, he said he's the best one he's seen in over 6 years, which would lead him to Roquan Smith.
I don't know if I agree with that.
So here's the rankings. You have to rank these three in order of preference.
Okay.
Downs at 2, Sonny Styles at 2, Arvell Reese at 2, but you're playing him primarily off ball.
Oh, all right.
Because I think Reese is going to add like probably 10 pounds. He's only 20, by the way, too, Arvell Reese. David Bailey's, I think, 23. I think he probably adds 10 pounds and does edge full time. But
yeah, this shouldn't be a hot take. I don't know if it's going to be, but it shouldn't be. If you're drafting Reese second overall to play him off ball, then that's the third worst. But that's the third option of those three. I think Sonny Styles is a better off-ball linebacker than Arvell Reese right now. The reason you're drafting Reese that high is because you also believe that he could be a great pass rusher at the NFL level, which is a projection. But right now, I think Styles is better in coverage than Reese is. They're both really good run defenders. Like
Reese is still good in coverage. He's not Styles level. But yeah.
Reese is a really good linebacker prospect just in general, but you're not drafting him second overall to be off-ball linebacker. You're just not doing that. You're drafting him because he's projection. Because if you're drafting him to be an off-ball linebacker, you might as well just draft Sonny Styles because Sonny Styles is better than Arvell Reese as an off-ball linebacker. I would probably rank that Caleb Downs 1, Sonny Styles 2, Arvell Reese 3. If the plan is to play him off-ball. But again, if you're drafting Arvell Reese second overall, you're drafting him because he's 20 years old, because he's
freaky athletic,
insane athlete. He's going to be 20 on draft night as well. Like he's going
to be 20 when they play the Giants in the preseason.
Yes. He's a freak athlete, so like uber strong. Despite he's only 245.
He went up against Markel Bell, who's the left tackle for Miami. Malago is the right tackle. Is 6'9", 360. Harvell Reese beat him on a bull rush.
That's the people look at it and they're like, because they're not actually watching him play. They're like, oh, he's 245. He's undersized. No.
Nah,
watch that dude set the edge.
He look at his biceps are like the size of my waist. Like,
the reason that I still lean Reese over Bain and Bailey, I'll say this now. Maybe it's February 18th. My opinion on this can still change. I haven't watched every single snap that they've played, and I don't know if I'll ever.
Oh, you're slacking. You're slacking.
I don't know if I'm going to get around to that. But I think the ceiling of what Arvell Reese can be for the defense is high enough that, like, if I'm picking second overall, I want to be going for that ceiling. If I was picking fifth overall and Ruben Bain staring me right in the face,
there you go.
I'm perfectly fine with that because I know I'm getting a really good player that's going to be really good for a long time. I think it's not like Reese is boom or bust because I think Arvell Reese at a bare minimum does so many things well that he's going to be a good and useful NFL player. And honestly, the one thing that, like, even for this Jets team specifically, that I look at Reese and I say, man, he could really help them there. How many times did the Jets get beat horizontally last season or the last couple of years where it's just
about 900?
A million, where it's either screen passes, flare outs, or outside zones or read options. Their defensive ends can't contain. Like,
forget about that. Being in a division with Josh Allen and Drake May, you don't think Reese being a spy is attractive to Aaron Glenn?
Or all the Joe Brady's still there because he's the head coach now in Buffalo. All those screen passes to Khalil Shakir. The Jets would have Michael Clemens trying to pursue him on the edge.
Now you have Arvell Reese.
Now they'd have Arvell Reese. Arvell Reese. I don't know if Arvell Reese is ever going to be I don't think he's ever going to be Micah Parsons. I think Micah Parsons is just a one-of-one freak athlete.
He might be pound for pound strongest guy in the league.
Yeah, everything we just said about Arvell Reese, about how athletic and strong he is, that's Micah Parsons amplified, right? They
just didn't even try coverage with Micah Parsons because he was so good at rushing the passer right away.
I don't know if Reese can ever be that, but I know at a bare minimum, he's going to be someone that is a game wrecker in the screen game, is going to stop those outside runs, can set the edge, and showed me enough flash as a pass rusher to believe that he can be a very good pass rusher too. That's why I lean him at 2. Even if it's a projection, I just think the ceiling with him is a lot higher, and it's not like there is any other obvious pick at number 2. And I think if you're picking second overall, you go for the ceiling and you go for a guy like Arvell Reese.
I think I got the best comp for him.
What do you got?
And it's not Micah Parsons for Arvell Reese.
What is it?
Don't you see a little of Clay Matthews?
Ooh. Yeah, I can see that. It's funny because when I'm trying to think of
Clay
comps,
Matthews drop back every now and again.
it's funny when I
Coverage.
try to think of comps for him, I almost think of like, because he played so much off-ball linebacker, I think of like off-ball linebackers. Like I almost think of like
Dante Hightower too is another one.
Dante Hightower, Jamie Collins, I've heard thrown out there.
If Belichick was it, he would. Arvell Reese is like Belichick's wet dream. He would fall in love with Arvell Reese. He loves that guy.
Low-key, Roquan Smith isn't like the worst comp for him, which is funny.
They just kicked Roquan in full time, and he was great. But
right, or like I mean, people will say younger Anthony Barr as well is another one I've seen thrown out.
Oh, a Jet's great in his own right.
Barr, like, but again, the thing is with Anthony Barr, Roquan Smith, you're drafting him second overall, Arvell Reese, because you're planning to play him more of an edge rusher. Minnesota did that a little bit with Barr, but then they
did that more than
Roquan.
More than Roquan, yeah.
But he still played more off-ball linebacker than edge rusher. And I think if you're drafting Reese that high, the plan isn't that. The plan is to play him as an edge rusher more than a linebacker, and you have to project that he can do that.
How many sacks did Clay Matthews have in his career?
I don't know.
91 and a half in 11 years. All right, so he's primarily an edge, but he was dropping back.
Veteran Jet fans said, did Clay ever cover receivers? I'll answer this about Reese. Like, I would say that
I think he'll age well, too, because you can kick him inside later in his career.
Yeah. And again, he's only 20. He's so young, right? But I also, like, Reese isn't someone that I want being the guy that I is guarding receivers or even guarding tight ends. I don't think that's the best use of him. I think
you can do it, but...
Yeah, you can do it. Like, he's a versatile player. He can do a lot of things, but it almost feels like more useful for him if you're using him in coverage to have him as a spy or have him just playing near the line of scrimmage in a short zone, like a shallow zone. That feels like the best use of him rather than traveling with a tight end down the seam. Like I think finding ways to keep him around the line of scrimmage where he can just be this freak of nature wrecking ball is probably the best use of him at the NFL level.
They should use him how BYU used Fred Warner. I mean, Ohio State on multiple occasions put Arvell Reese in the slot as like a cornerback.
Yeah.
I don't think that'd be great. Not move him to cornerback full time. I'm saying to use him.
Step aside, Jarvis Brownlee.
Keep it simple says if they're going base 3-4, you can take Downs at 2 and move McDonald and Jermaine Johnson to linebacker. Will McDonald was born to be a 3-4 outside linebacker.
What's funny is they played a good amount of 3-4 last year too. Fans just didn't realize it.
They were trying everything. They tried literally schematically pretty much everything.
What's funny to me is I'm pretty sure Jermaine Johnson played more stand-up outside linebacker than Will McDonald did last year, which you would think would be the opposite. But I'm pretty sure Johnson played it. I want to see the snaps on that. I don't know if PFF could actually break that down, but there was a lot of times where Jermaine was standing up as like a stand-up linebacker. Yeah, no, dude. Jermaine Johnson was listed. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, Jermaine Johnson was listed as an outside linebacker, 585 snaps, as an end 63 snaps last year. That's how PFF broke it down.
There you go.
So they were running a lot of 3-4 last year, or 3-2-5, right? I guess it'd be because they kind of base package nickel. But yeah, they ran a lot of
3-3-5, wasn't it?
3-3-5. Sorry, 3-3-5. Yep. I was thinking 4-2-5. Yes.
Chew, I wouldn't draft a guy with no set position at number 2.
Again, that's the downside with him. Like it's all of these guys have downsides. I think that's a totally valid point, right? But who are you drafting instead? If you want the floor, you can draft Ruben Bain. I don't think Ruben Bain is ever going to be a 5-time All-Pro at the NFL level. And there's the red flag with the short arms, where if they are what they're reported to be, he's a complete outlier and
like 0 percentile outlier, not like shorter than most.
And no one has ever succeeded with it. Like, so there's red flags for all these guys.
Like the best player with those level is like Brandon Graham. That's like the best ever with that level of short arm.
Aiden Hutchinson is like a little bit longer arms, but he's close to it.
So and he's bigger. Like he's like 6'6", I think.
And he's bigger, yeah. But
veteran Jet fan, Bain is safe like Sean Ellis was.
I don't think Sean Ellis is a terrible comp for him.
But he's a little bigger though, right?
Sean Ellis be worthy of a number 2 overall pick in a normal draft class? Probably.
I mean, they did pick him 12th, so
yeah. Well, there's a big difference,
Sean Ellis was 6'5", 290, by the way.
Sean Ellis, awesome player. Like,
whoa! By the way, do you know what his real name is? It's not Sean.
I just saw it. Oh my God! Look at his middle
name.
Mashonda. And his middle name is
Pizarrur. Pizarrur.
That sounds mythical. I don't know what that is. Is that something?
Pizarrur? I don't know. Like
make that up.
I want to say pizza something.
Well, I looked that up, and all that comes up is Sean Ellis. So I think they just made it up.
I think it's like DeBrickashaw. They just made it up.
Yeah, they just straight up made it up. I think that's what happened. But like Ellis, 2-time Pro Bowler. Is that worthy of the number 2 overall pick? Like, great player, and I know you're getting a really good player with Ruben Bain. I think I'd rather swing for the upside in Arvell Reese if I'm picking that high.
Sean Ellis only had double-digit sacks twice in his career.
Yeah, which that seems reasonable to. Obviously, Ellis also played as more of a 3-4 end for a lot of his career, which maybe would be the case with Bain too, because Bain's what, 275? How big is Ruben Bain? 275?
I think he's listed 275.
There you go. See, so he'd have to.
He can kick inside on passing downs though, and then you just get Jermaine, Will McDonald, Bain all on the field at once. That'd be.
Yeah, it's again. This is why I say it's not a good year to pick number 2, because all 3 of the guys that are in that conversation, unless you're including the Caleb Downs or Sonny Styles or whoever, all 3 of those guys have genuine red flags that would usually prevent the team from drafting them at number 2 overall.
Veteran Jet fan with a couple takes. The best player in this draft is Caleb Downs, instant team captain, quarterback of the defense.
Yeah, I agree.
And Reese is a freak, legit sub 4.5 speed. I don't know if he's going to run. If he does stuff at the combine, and he does remember when Jadeveon Clowney ran at the combine and people were like, whoa. I think that might happen with Arvell Reese. Like if he weighs in at like the 250s and he runs that fast, I think it might be over.
Yeah.
There's an old story where Deion Sanders was talking about he didn't do anything at the combine. No, he flew into the combine in basically like penny loafers. He ran the 40 in like 4.25 or whatever, and then just got in the plane and left. That might happen with Arvell Reese.
Maybe. Brian said that Quinn was supposed to be the best overall player in the draft. I don't think anyone is saying about him now. Well, Nick Bosa's in that draft.
Nick Bosa. I mean,
I think at the time it was like Quinn is. Yeah, that was.
It depends on who you need. If you need an end, you get Bosa. If you get needed
the narrative,
you get Quinnen.
Both of them were like kind of like step. Obviously Bosa just played a more important position as an edge rusher. But I don't think if you told anybody back then that Bosa would have a better career than Quinnen, I don't think people would have called you crazy.
In terms of average, what is it? Approximate value on PFF, he is tied for 6th in that class.
Who else is in that draft?
Let's see if he's tied with Josh Jacobs and DK Metcalf. He's above Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns.
Is AJ Brown in that draft?
AJ Brown is number 1.
Okay. Who'd you say he's tied with?
Josh Jacobs and DK Metcalf. So there's 4 guys above him.
Well, Bosa is obviously above him.
Yeah, he's 1. No, but one number though.
I don't know how they do quarterback value. Is Kyler above him?
Kyler's one of them.
Okay, because quarterback.
Yep.
Any other quarterbacks? Am I forgetting another quarterback?
There's 2 more defensive linemen who are ahead of him.
2 more defensive linemen. Dexter is in that class, right?
Nope, he's below him.
Oh shoot, Brian Burns?
Nope, below him.
I don't know who else.
One's a 1st-round guy, one's a 4th-round guy.
1st-round guy, AFC or NFC?
AFC, both AFC.
I was gonna say Rashawn Gary.
Gary's a lot lower.
Josh Allen, like Josh Allen.
Nope.
I'm running out of names, bro. I don't know. All right, who else? Who would I?
Max Crosby.
Oh, I forgot. I was thinking 1st-round guys. Yeah, Crosby was.
And Jeffrey Simmons.
Okay, he was Simmons 1st round or was he 2nd round?
Yep, 19th.
Okay. I always forget Crosby was in that draft because he was 4th round pick?
4th round pick. The one scouting win Mike Mayock and Gruden had.
Yeah. I always forget he's in that class. Montez Sweat.
Let's see. Cisco. Safeties don't go that high due to Jamal Adams. I will say Downs is the best player in this draft. Jamal Adams made All-Pro twice in 3 years. Yeah. I know he didn't age well, but he was really good with the Jets. Let's not forget that.
Listen, just looking at what Kyle Hamilton is able to do for that Ravens defense, you could sell me on Downs at number 2.
Eman Worry for Seattle this year.
For Seattle. You could sell me on Caleb Downs at 2 just based on that. I'm not saying that's my preference. Again, I think it's Reese for me, but I think it makes sense. The Jets are in a spot now where it'll take a lot for me to be mad about what they do at 2. They're going to get a good player. And there's no
Ty Simpson.
If they take Ty Simpson number 2, I'll be mad. But there's no consensus obvious you have to take this guy.
It could be Reese could blow up the combine and then it's obvious end. But
even still, if he blows up the combine and then they draft Bain instead because they just don't have a clear vision for how they want Arvell Reese to fit in their defense, I get that. I understand that because there's a lot of projection involved with it. I get it.
What was the tweet I saw once where it said Arvell Reese is the reason coaches exist?
Kind of. Well, that's another thing is do you? Well, I don't even think it should matter. But it's like, oh, do you trust the Jets coaching staff to develop Arbel Reese? It doesn't matter.
You just say that about anybody if you're
right.
negative.
But if they don't, after 1 year, they're gone anyway. So who cares? You know, and you're bringing in a new group.
Here we got a war going on between veteran Jet fan and Don't Tell NB. Lemon is better than Garrett. You mean as a prospect? No. No, I don't think he is.
I think they're very similar as prospects.
They're similar. I think Garrett was better. Garrett's a better athlete.
He's a better athlete. He's faster. He ran a 4.39 or something like that. Garrett Lemon's not going to run that.
Great ball control for he just never see it a lot. But
I think Lemon is better at the catch point than Garrett. That's where I would say.
I disagree.
I think Lemon. There's so many catches on his tape where it's just like, how did he make that play? Garrett
at Ohio State too.
If there's one weakness I would say for Garrett Wilson, it's I don't think he's great in contested catch situations. I don't think he's bad at it, but I certainly don't think it's a strength of his game. There's times where he body catches. There's times where I think I'd like to see him be a little more physical at the catch point. And I think that I don't really get that concern with Lemon. But Wilson, the advantage he has is he's a better athlete. He's faster. He's a better downfield threat than Lemon.
On the other side of this war, Don't Tell NB says Lemon is John Mechie III. He's undersized, and his competition was nothing in comparison to what Mechie went up against.
John Mechie? No, man.
Who still got picked high and then had...
second-round pick.
I mean, he got leukemia. Totally not his fault his career got sidetracked like that.
Yeah, no. Lemon is he's not Jackson Smith-Njigba, but I feel like all the criticism people have for JSN are the same things that they have for Lemon, and people are just going to really overthink him as a prospect because he doesn't run a 4.35 and he's not 6'3". Like I think that people are just going to.
Well, you do have a guy who Tyson might run a 4.35 and Carnell Tate is 6'3", so there you go.
I'm aware. Neither of them are better football players than Mekhi Lemon.
Both of them are.
Oh man, you have Lemon's your wide receiver 3 in this class?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. I like that we disagree on that. I want to see how.
Now, my wide receiver 4, as veteran Jet fan mentions, is KC Concepcion from Texas A&M.
Over Denzel Boston.
Over Boston, yeah. Okay. Now, both of them have drop issues, as he mentioned here, 19 drops in college. But Concepcion just seems like not in a Malachi Corley playmaker with the ball in his hands kind of way, like in a real playmaker with the ball in his hands kind of way. I think Concepcion, it might just honestly, they're going to be ranked similar. Boston may just be, do you want an X guy or do you want a slot guy? And I think if you want a slot guy.
Which is why I was going to say Boston makes more sense for the Jets if they're going that route. I don't see
I wouldn't hate him at 16, Concepcion, if I'm being honest.
For the Jets, I would. I wouldn't hate it, but I would not be my favorite pick.
I see the vision, what they're trying to do.
I think it makes a lot more sense for a team that needs a day one starting slot who also can double as a return man. And I don't think the Jets need either of those things. I think Garrett is better in the slot, and I'd rather have him playing as slot receiver. And they certainly don't need returners. So I think he makes more sense for another team.
Veteran Jet fan Reese did run a reported 4.50 40, which is just crazy for his size. Matt Patricia used Reese everywhere. So it can be done. If Matt Patricia can do it schematically, Aaron Glenn can do it.
You would hope.
It can be done.
You would hope.
Veteran Jet fan again. Jets need a quarterback of the defense type badly.
Yeah.
Which I guess might be Downs.
Well, listen, that was supposed to be Jamie and Sherwood this past year. That didn't work out so well.
Yep. CJ Mosley merchant.
I mean, that's Downs. That could be Reese. It could be Styles. Like any of those guys. Just if you come away, we've said this before, but if you come away with like one or two Ohio State players, literally any of them in the first round, you probably did well.
Let's go with, was it veteran Jet fan again? Think of how important safety was in Glenn's defense because of Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph. And Brian Duker, their new coordinator, was their safeties coach.
Back to the Boston, because I believe it was somebody in the chat said Boston didn't have 19 drops. Yeah, Boston doesn't really have drop issues, to my knowledge. At least
they were like, when they happened, they were big.
PFF has him with 2 drops last year and 3 drops the year before that.
Oh, I've seen like 2 just from watching him. I don't know if that's
career drop rate of 3.6% in college, which is outstanding. That is exceptional. Contested.
Honestly, I don't believe that. I've seen maybe I just watched all his drops at once, but I'm like, man, there's a lot of them here.
Contested catch rate last year, 77%.
That's what he's best at.
Absurd.
There were some times where he kind of like got a hand on it and it wasn't like a drop because bad throw, but
now I have more separation concerns with him than I do someone like Carnell Tate. But if you're looking for an X receiver who could just go up and get it, man, like I do see it with Boston. And I think he is something that the Jets would need. I honestly just think one of those 3, the top 3 wide receivers, I think at least one of them is going to be there at 16. I feel.
Yeah, I think so too. Like Lemon at 16, I'd be totally behind.
I'd be doing backflips, dude. If they get Lemon, if they go Reese at 2 or even Bain at 2 and then Lemon 16, I am cartwheeling out of my house. I am ecstatic.
I'm thrilled with Reese or Bain and then best receiver available. You take that every time.
Yeah.
Steve Bolzen says, I would take McDonald at 16 to plug up the middle. They have Harrison Phillips.
Yeah. I had mocked
and Briggs is going to be a starter next year.
So. I had mocked that in the past. I think he's one of those Ohio State players that's just an awesome player that I know is going to be very good. My least favorite of all the projected round 1 offensive or Ohio State guys. But yeah, I look, man, they just need really good players in that defense. And he is a very good player.
Cisco, what wide receivers do you think will be there at 16? And would you take receiver at 16? I would. That'd be my number 2.
Yes.
Area of need.
Seems like
here's my top 10 receivers that I got.
Okay.
Tate 1, Tyson 2.
Okay.
Mekhi Lemon 3, which is in line with the consensus board.
Our top 3 receivers are flipped. I have Lemon, Tyson, Tate.
I have Tate 1. I just think if he runs anything not sluggishly slow, I think he's
great. No, I love them all.
Concepcion 4, Denzel Boston 5, Omar Cooper 6.
Cooper's getting a lot of love lately.
Then I'd probably say Malachi Fields 7, Zachariah Branch 8, Elijah Surratt 9, Chris Brazzell 10.
Would Chris Bell be there if not for the injury?
Possibly a little bit of Malachi Corley, a touch of the Corley in him.
Sure.
He's another one of those guys where it's like you got to figure out how to use him.
Yeah.
And Arvell Reed, I know Arvell Rizzo, you got to figure out how to use him, but he just is such a crazy athlete that he's going to do something. Chris Bell, as Corley has shown, you legitimately need a plan to use him. Otherwise, he's not going to. I like that he's big, though, but he doesn't play. He plays like he's Casey Concepcion, but he's 6'2", 220. It's a very weird eval. And he got hurt, so.
Yeah. I don't love Concepcion for the Jets. And then there's the drop issues he had. Over 10% drop rate each of the last 2 years in college. That is a concern for a guy who, is going to be a high volume receiver likely at the next level if he's a slot guy. I think he makes sense for other teams a lot more than the Jets. I would prefer Boston for the Jets a lot more than Concepcion.
Veteran Jet fan, they can all hang out at the Jugs machine. That's the thing of what really sucks about Arian Smith being what he is he got thrown to so little because he wasn't that good. We don't know if he fixed the drop issues. Maybe Sean Jefferson can fix drop issues. We don't know.
Well, the issue is he also just couldn't do anything else, evidently, because they didn't even trust him to run the right routes. They did not. I believe he had at least 1 or 2 pre-snap penalties in his very brief, very limited snaps last year too. I just think they did not trust him at all. They were playing anybody that they could over Arian Smith, and I think there is a very good reason for that. And now that the same wide receivers coach will be back next year. I would be surprised if I know Arian Smith made a couple of plays late in the year as a gunner.
Who cares?
I'd be surprised.
Not who cares, but that's not a reason to keep
I don't think that's
going to pick.
I'd be surprised if he was in the week 1 roster.
He might be better off as Bo Melton converting to cornerback.
Maybe, dude. I love Bo Melton. He's one of my favorite non-Jets players in the NFL. I've been following his career pretty closely the last few years. Just Rutgers guy, and I'm very happy that he has just found a way to stick around. Even if it's somehow, he was still playing some wide receiver last year. He got some snaps at receiver, even though he switched to corner.
Keep it simple. What do you think of Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech? He'd be a
fun player.
They're probably going to get some sort of, not only are they going to get probably Reese or somebody early, but they're also probably going to get an Alex Anzalone in free agency. So I don't think he'd start this year, but I wouldn't hate it.
I mean, he's awesome. He's just a fun player to watch.
Fun.
Nasty dude.
Let's go with Chew. Another reason I don't want Reese is all of the Jets players regressed this year. Would he be effective in the Jets D? Well, you could say that about anybody then.
Yeah, I don't. Are you saying that because he's more of a projection? I think is probably
Whereas
Bain is more coach proof. I think is the argument there. Where Bain isn't gonna. You know what Ruben Bain is going to be regardless of the coaching staff. Whereas you kind of need the right staff in place for Reese. I get that. But I also am not going to not take a player because of a lame duck coaching staff that has a good chance to not be here next year anyway.
Steve Bolzen, Lemon, I hope, is there at 16. What if Simpson, Lemon, Tate, and Tyson are gone at 16? Then who?
I mean, you could go to Boston. I would prefer Boston over Concepcion. You could go a different position. It depends on what the board looks like. It depends on what you did in free agency.
I think if they go cornerback early, I think it would probably be like a slot guy.
Ooh.
I'm thinking I don't know if they'll go corner round 1 because I don't like this corner class really.
I wouldn't prefer corner round 1. I wouldn't.
But if like D'Angelo Pons or Keontae Scott's there in the second round at 44,
Pons is so small. Like I know he's an Aaron Glenn type because he's small, he's feisty as hell, dude. He's so fun. Like I got to talk to Pons too. Really cool dude. Like
how old is he?
I don't know.
D'Angelo Pons.
He transferred from James Madison, so I think he played at least 4 years of ball.
Man, there's no birth date information at all. Or he's a true freshman in 2023.
I'm pretty sure they list him at like 5'8",
5'9", 170. He's
not 5'9". I can actually say this. I've stood next to D'Angelo Pons. He's not
5'9". Diego Pavia'd him.
He's 5'8".
What about Keontae Scott?
I don't know. I didn't stand next to Keontae Scott. I don't know.
No, that's height. I mean,
I was like a day 2 guy.
Yeah, like at 44 instead of Pons.
I haven't watched as much of him as I have Pons, so I don't have like a firm opinion on him. But maybe. I mean,
that might be tough. I would, if those guys aren't there, I might prefer a trade down over Boston or Concepcion because I think you could still probably get one of them even if you move down like 5 or 6 spots.
Another shout here from Veteran Jets fan. He said Amik Robertson will be a Jet. I know that Amik Robertson loves Aaron Glenn, adores Aaron Glenn. I
don't think he's better than Jarvis Brownlee, though.
I think you're just getting another Jarvis Brownlee. They are the exact same cloth. Listen, if you want to just get 2 undersized,
when they got him, we said they need guys like that.
If you want to just have 2, undersized but will fucking die for their team nickel corners, right?
Just get him and Bane, and then
but like
the all chaos and anger defense.
If you just rotate Robertson and Brownlee, I mean, the way that they throw their bodies around and hit dudes, they're probably going to miss time anyway.
Brownlee's a little bigger though.
He is a little bit bigger. Robertson is what 5'9", 5. He's a little bit bigger than Pons. He's also just physical as hell. But like, if you want a dog on this defense, that's a Robertson.
DAWG dog.
Yeah, and like if you just want 2 Jarvis Brownlees, I'm not going to
the whole plane out of Jarvis Brownlees.
Robertson would be pretty cheap, and I don't think either of them are going to be star nickel corners, but I think they will transform the identity. They will help transform the identity of the defense.
In dime, if you go, Amick Robertson and Brownlee, together on the or crazy idea. In dime, you put Arvell Reese as one of them.
Oh my god! And then who your pass rushers? Somebody else you sign, and then
they're going to sign a guy, and then McDonald and Johnson are going to be there.
One last thing. That reminded me. One last thing on the Bailey conversation. I just don't think it's wise to go into next year with 2 of your top edge rushers being David Bailey and Will McDonald. Like Bailey's a better run defender than McDonald, but if 2 of your top 3 edge rushers, I don't know what they do in free agency, but let's say 2 of their top 3 edge rushers are liabilities against the run, I think you're going to have a real tough time stopping the run.
Like, well, I mean, they're going to start Jermaine over Will, though, I'd imagine.
Still 2 of your top 3, you're always going to have some sort of a liability out there as an edge rusher. And that's another, I think, reason that I wouldn't want
Bailey. Who's going to be a better run defender in the NFL, David Bailey or Bryce Huff?
Bailey, I think Bailey's bigger than Huff now. Bailey feels
he is.
He plays bigger than Huff, and he's stronger than Huff. Bailey probably gets the nod there over Huff. I think Bailey can get to a point where he's an average run defender, like where he's not a liability as a run defender. He's just not there now, and because he's older, it's harder to project how much better he's going to get. Whereas with someone like Reese, it's like, man, he's already very good, and he's 20 years old. There's so much more room to grow there with him. Whereas Bailey, I think Bailey 20. Is he 24 by week 1, or he's close to it?
He's 23.
When does he turn 24?
No, I think he will be 23.
Oh, he'll be 23. I'll be 23.
Yeah. Arvell Reese will be 21, which is that you got to worry about these things.
You do.
So he wasn't even fully realized.
Sonny Styles, another guy, 21 years old. Sonny Styles. I didn't realize he was that young because he started 3 years at Ohio State.
Didn't his brother play too?
Probably.
Is Lorenzo Styles his brother?
Oh, I don't know. I remember Lorenzo Styles, though. I don't know if they're related.
No, because they're on the same defense.
Yeah. Oh, well, I was thinking, yes, Lorenzo Styles. Yes, that is his brother.
Oh, okay. No, I was thinking AJ Styles.
Okay, all right. So
John Ross, hi Jet Press. Today is my birthday. I'm 37. Happy birthday, John.
hey, shout out John Ross. Sorry that your NFL career
Sorry the Bengals didn't work out.
Your NFL career was a failure, my friend. But you know what? You still drafted as a top 10 pick, so that's pretty good.
Steve Bolzen, McNeil, Warren, Ramsey, or Thin Man. I guess that's Pons at 33 or 44.
Pons isn't even thin man. Pons is just small.
Short man.
He's short and thin. He's both.
So I think like McNeil Warren, I don't know why he's just locked into safety 2. I think he's safety 3. I think Dylan Thieneman I would take right now over Emmanuel.
I like Thieneman a lot. McNeil Warren's stock has gone up a lot. Like he's gone from being, I think, like a popular like day 2 sleeper to now like I see him in every first round mock, which kind of came out of
I would say Toledo, but then Quinion Mitchell disproves the competition concerns.
Yeah.
But not everybody can be Quinion Mitchell. So.
Right. He's fun.
Thieneman just makes sense for like what the Jets need to. I think he had 6 picks one year.
Yeah.
He just seems like more of what they need right now. McNeil Warren seems like more of not a box safety, but like he seems more like rove around and hit guys. Dylan Thieneman seems more like a playmaker.
Like a firecracker type guy,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sonny Styles' dad is Lorenzo Styles Sr. Okay, so Styles Jr. is the cornerback for Ohio State. And
yes.
So were they twins? Jeez.
What? Twins? What do you mean?
Sonny and his brother, or were they twins?
Oh, were they twins?
I mean, if they're both juniors at Ohio State, it seems likely that they're twins.
They are not. Now, Lorenzo's a grad. He's a grad student.
Oh, okay. So there you go. Okay, I thought they were of.
Lorenzo transferred from Notre Dame.
Oh, okay, to play with his brother. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I tell you what, that's pretty good. Talk about pretty good genetics there, though.
Pretty good lineage there. Yeah.
But both of them.
And then, of course, the adopted brother AJ. Pretty damn good wrestler.
Yeah. So with that, I think we're going to call time on this episode of the Jet Press podcast. I think we've made some inroads into some of these burning questions, although number 2 is still up in the air. I think it'll be Reese, but
yes,
who knows at this point.
It makes the conversation so much more fun that there's not an obvious guy for the Jets to draft the 2. Because some years, like imagine if we were a Raiders podcast, Mike, what would we be talking about?
Or imagine if Dante Moore came out. We know who they're getting at 2, so
we wouldn't have to talk about any of this. But now it's like, oh man, there's genuinely rarely do you see a team picking second.
Imagine though if he declared and we got like Dante Moore and Mekhi Lemon in the same draft.
Don't do that. Don't do that to me, Mike. But like normally when your team is picking second overall, you have a pretty good idea of who they're going to take. You maybe there's 1 or 2 guys, maybe 3 guys that you're debating between. I've seen as many as 6 names thrown out there for the Jets. We discussed as many.
He's the 6th
today.
Down Styles, Bain,
and I said Lemon.
Reese.
I said Lemon.
Well, you said Lemon. Okay.
Yeah. Well, is that not? Am I not part of the discussion?
Okay. I saw it somewhere.
I am a part of that discussion. And if you want to say Carnell Tate, we could throw him in there and make it 7. If you want.
You can 6 or 7. Some
6
might say.
Or 7. Some might say that. That's true. Anyway, Mike, I'm glad we got all this draft talk out of us. There's gonna be plenty more to come in the coming weeks. We'll probably do a free agent primer pretty soon because free agency is right around the corner.
And they got money to spend, so
they don't
even need to get Mekhi Lemon. They could pay a receiver.
That's true. All of this draft talk is going to be fully altered once we see what the team does in free agency and who maybe they sign 2 edge rushers and now we're like, well, shit, I don't know. Maybe they signed 2 edge rushers and no safeties and we're like, well, maybe now it is Caleb Downs at 2. I don't know. But we'll talk about all of that in the coming weeks. Mike, do you have any final thoughts before we fully sign off?
Just don't screw it up, man. Just don't screw it up.
They might. There's a decent chance they will. But
if you're a fan who has a humiliation fetish and wants them to tank, knock it off.
I will say, if you are someone that has a humiliation fetish, boy, is this the team for you.
This is
this is your team. You chose
the matrix of the football world.
You chose the right football team. They're going to pop over to the Sacramento Kings podcast right after this and keep with it because
and the Oakland A, the formerly Oakland A's.
What's the all humiliation fetish fandoms? So it'd be Jets, Sacramento Kings. What's baseball's is the A's?
I guess the A. Geez, the 2 right over there in Northern California.
I don't know hockey enough to know the hockey. Is hockey
probably the Sabres?
Oh yeah, well, but they're finally good now. But it historically has been the Sabres. The 15 years.
Maybe the Marlins for baseball.
Yeah,
because MLS teams are worth more than the Marlins are now. Apparently.
Yeah. What about college sports? Any
college football?
Yeah, college football. Kansas.
Yeah.
Rutgers,
Honestly,
Rutgers,
before they cheated, Michigan,
oh, I thought you were going to say before recently Indiana football.
they had half of a national championship since 1948.
Yeah.
So they were in it a lot and kept losing.
Yeah. Or just maybe like UMass or some shit.
They got to go down, man. They got to go to FCS.
Well, hop on over to your UMass Minutemen podcast after this. But until next time, thank you all for joining us on the show today. Follow Mike on Twitter at @ByMikeChom. Follow me on Twitter, Justin D. Fried. Follow the Jetpass at the Jetpass. Download the Jetpass podcast wherever you get your podcast. Check us out on YouTube and TikTok. Subscribe, like, hit that notification bell. Thank you again to MF Chu, who donated 5 memberships earlier. It is so much appreciated. It is an amazing way to help support the show. It really does help us out. So it's very much appreciate when anybody's able to do that. We stream live every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you all for listening to Jet Press Podcast. I've been Justin Fried. That is Mike Luciano. See you guys next time.
We got 2 more months of draft talk, so we ain't going anywhere.